a man walk away from a child that he has been raising for 3, 5, 10, 15 years simply because the DNA test shows that he's not the biological father? Hear me out here. I'm not being insensitive. I know that his world has just been turned upside down. I know he feels betrayed. He's devastated. I empathize. I sympathize with his predicament. However, how is one able to walk away from a child that one has bonded with, loved, nurtured, poured blood and sweat into, simply because the DNA test shows that you're not the biological father? I understand getting rid of the wife or the girlfriend. The word I actually want to use starts with a W and rhymes with sure. Get rid of the W. But the children or the child, the innocent child, it is flummoxing to me. Now, I'm not a man, and I do not know how this impacts men. I also know that there's deep shame. But were I in that predicament, of course I would be devastated. I'd be hurt and betrayed. But then I'd let the children know, or the child know. You may not be my biological child, but you're still my child. I love you. You're my child in my heart. I've bonded with you. I've raised you. So nothing changes. Now, I know a lot of men worry about, then I have to continue paying I have to pay child support now that we're not together. So what? I'd pay the child support. Because you know what? Even though everything has changed, nothing should have changed, because it's still the child that I raised, bonded with, and loved. And in an attempt not to pay child support, one ends up cutting off one's nose to spite one's face. Because you got to look at the big picture, the relationship with that child, the continued relationship, and the ability to go ahead and raise and nurture that child, because you already have that bonded relationship. But once again, because I'm not a man, I do not understand how anybody can walk away from a child. Story time. My husband had a boss about 20 years ago. This gentleman's son had some medical issues. And to make a long story short, he found out that his 19-year-old son was not his biological child. Needless to say, he was devastated. But you know what? He had raised this child for 19 years, was paying for college. This was his son, and he was not going to let him go. And my heart broke for him, but I was so proud of this man, because he did not walk away from his child. And I think at times some men might think walking away from the child is a way to punish the woman for her betrayal. But at the end of the day, the person you're hurting is the child. And I can't help but wonder, won't you be traumatized as a person walking away from someone that you've bonded with, that you've loved? For the man, isn't that traumatic? I mean, I really do not understand. I just cannot relate. And once again, I'm not a man. I'm sensitive to the hurt, to the pain, to the betrayal. But is it right to walk away from a child you've bonded with simply because the DNA test shows that you're not the biological father? Food for thought. Talk to you later.
I got my thoughts on this though. Number one, the question that she asked, should a man walk away when the DNA shows he's not the father? Now here's a funny thing. I'm about to say, are you crazy? I was ready to really then she said look, it's one thing to get rid of the girlfriend and wife. And she said she's starts with a W, rhymes with store. So basically she acknowledged yeah, that female is bad. Now the real victim of this is technically three people. One, the man who's duped at the raising another man's kid. Two, what about this is one thing the woman never brought up and never mentions. What about the actual biological father? That's one. Don't you think he has a right to know he has a son? He has an opportunity to try to do something, bond with him. Two, so you got the man duped to raise the kid if it's not his. Two, you got the biological father who doesn't know he has a son. Three, the child himself. That what makes it complicated. This is why mandatory paternity tests should be the law of the land, and women like that who play these games should earn some stupid prizes in the form of stiff fines and jail time. You heard me, jail time. Enough is enough. And I can think of two things that's going to stop it or try to stop it. I'm not going to say it's going to stop because it's going to happen. Whether you women like it or not, the mandatory paternity test is coming your way in this country, one way or the other, whether you like it or not. The two groups that will probably result is, of course, the women who say, oh, men don't trust it. It's never men don't trust you, but you got to a point where you got so much paternity fraud, you lost the ability to run your mouths. So yes, mandatory paternity test should be ran the moment the baby is born before the birth certificate is signed. 2, the child support courts. They get a good chunk of that money. Yeah, and they go for the guy who makes the most money. Like I said, she admit one thing. She's not a man. She doesn't know the experience. Guess what, lady? A lot of men got duped. More than 30% of the DNA test shows they're not the father. Over 30%. Maybe higher, for all we know. Do you know that bad DNA test in Paris, France, unless it's very, very something very like unique and all that? I'm sorry. If I'm a fair-skinned Parisian with a fair-skinned wife and my child comes in dark skin, I'll be asking a lot of questions. And my biggest fear, like, they try to push this country to be like, no, here's the deal. We need mandatory paternity tests, enough of the nonsense. Like I said, I guess we're saying like the child be traumatized, and to a certain extent, the man be traumatized. I could see that because if the man raised the kid like maybe like 5, 10, maybe 15 years, and the kid's going to college and all that stuff, and he finds out the truth, that will mess anybody up. 3 victims, 1 female who can't stay loyal and faithful. She created 3 victims. Ma'am, of all due respect, get your facts straight. You left out the biological father. You left out the part where the woman or the wife of the girlfriend should pay consequences. And what about the mental health of the man who's been duped to raise it to another man's kid? And we can't forget about the kid himself. Everyone suffers, period. No winners. Nobody wins. But folks, what are your thoughts on it? I don't care what anyone says. We need mandatory paternity tests. If I was you people, I'd say write letters to the congressmen, senators, and demand for mandatory paternity tests. Other than that, folks, it's dangerous out in these streets, as well as online. Be safe, peace and love. Out. One more thing. We'll come to this. This way I can keep your powder dry. So that way you can have peace over drama.